Two wealthy collectors of oddities fight over a fascinating new specimen. Their quarrel is interrupted, however, by a series of increasingly strange incidents. At the Pony Valley Sewage Treatment Facility, three sanitation workers chat about the various things they find in the sludge. One worker claims to have found, among other things, embryos with deformities. The worker Martin fishes out a misshapen lump of flesh from the wastewater, but reassures the other two that he'll take care of it. Martin takes the lump inside and places it in a cooler, then carries the cooler out of the plant and into his car. Just then, the receptionist for International Medical Specimens Incorporated, Elvina, gets a call from Martin asking to speak to her boss, Miss Yost. Martin is put on hold while Miss Yost closes a deal on the specimen with the client. Miss Yost then talks to Martin about the strange specimen he found, while Elvina overhears the conversation over her handset. Miss Yost hurriedly instructs Elvina to call Mr. Lazar to meet her at the building's cold storage in about an hour and leaves the office. Elvina, however, calls and informs Dr. Lorca about Miss Yost's urgent appointment with Lazar. Elsewhere, Dr. Lorca complains to his assistant Sheila about Belinda Yost's double-dealing with collector Napoleon Lazar. Sheila advises the doctor to use dishonest means to deal with the backstabbing Miss Yost. Later, Elvina takes Lazar to meet Miss Yost and Martin at the cold storage facility. She then escorts Martin out as soon as he gets paid, leaving Miss Yost and Lazar to discuss business. Miss Yost offers a 10-year contract of $250,000 worth of medical specimens per year on top of the specimen in the box, priced at $650,000. When Lazar slightly balks at her terms, Miss Yost says she'll take her wares to Dr. Lorca, who Lazar despises. At Lazar's prompting, Miss Yost reveals the box's contents, which thoroughly captivates the man. Lazar immediately makes a call to write Miss Yost a check for $650,000 to be delivered to him in 2 hours. He then requests the contract documents from a delighted Miss Yost. Afterward, as Lazar drives with the specimen box through a snowy forest road, Dr. Lorca lurks ahead, monitoring the car's location. Driving up to his private road, Lazar sees a car blocking the path, so he gets out of his vehicle to investigate. Inside the other car, Lazar finds a woman in a gorilla mask, who suddenly holds him at gunpoint and forces him to move so she can cuff him to a tree. The masked woman proceeds to steal the specimen box, ignoring Lazar's pleas, and drives away. The woman, who turns out to be Sheila, meets Dr. Lorca back at his castle and hands him the box. Inside the study, Dr. Lorca and Sheila open the box and marvel at its apparently unique contents. They put the specimen in a large jar and place it on a shelf with other jars containing more oddities. Transfixed at this new addition, Dr. Lorca asks to be left alone and thanks Sheila for bringing the specimen to him. Sheila then disposes of the box and the gorilla mask in an acid bath beneath a trapdoor. Meanwhile, Dr. Lorca falls asleep in front of his prized collection. This consists of 4 large jars containing mutated specimens of varying shapes and bizarre features. The new addition suddenly opens all 4 of its eyes, flips the lid off, and uses its tentacles to revive the 3 other specimens. The next day, Lazar and Miss Yost explain their situation to a private investigator, Leonard Cantor. They describe their relationship as buyer and dealer of biological oddities and how somebody stole a prized specimen from them. When Cantor asks why they didn't go to the police, Miss Yost replies that their business sits in a legal gray area. While Lazar is confident that Dr. Emilio Lorca orchestrated the robbery, Cantor asks how the doctor would even know they had the specimen. The investigator learns of the receptionist Elvina, who he suspects might have leaked information to Dr. Lorca. Moments later, Cantor brings in Elvina to ask her about the robbery. The investigator tricks her into believing Dr. Lorca has been arrested and has implicated her in the robbery. A panicking Elvina admits to merely passing information about the specimen to the doctor, enraging Miss Yost, who starts insulting her. Elvina blames Miss Yost in turn, saying the dealer undermined their agreement with Dr. Lorca having first dibs on their wares. The two women's verbal clash turns physical, but Cantor breaks up the fight. He then convinces Elvina to cooperate in retrieving the stolen specimen under threat of jail time. Cantor formulates a plan that involves Miss Yost tricking Dr. Lorca into inviting her to the doctor's place, where they can reclaim the specimen. The next day, Dr. Lorca catches Miss Yost, Elvina, Lazar, and Cantor on a CCTV feed. Knowing they have no proof of his theft, the doctor decides to meet Miss Yost's group. Meanwhile, the specimens stir restlessly in their jars as the sound of breaking glass rings out. Later, Dr. Lorca and Sheila meet Cantor and his clients, who suggest taking a tour of the doctor's castle. Dr. Lorca denies committing any crime and refuses a search of his home without a warrant, knowing there's no evidence to present to the police. Cantor then plays a recording of Elvina's confession, detailing how Dr. Lorca intended to steal from Lazar with Sheila's help. Lazar and Dr. Lorca argue over the true ownership of the specimen, and Lazar ends up insulting the doctor's stature as a collector. Dr. Lorca then invites him to view his specimens, and if Lazar can claim that his collection is superior to the doctor's, the missing specimen will be returned. Otherwise, Dr. Lorca demands that Lazar and his associates bother him no more. Lazar gladly accepts the challenge. revenge. That night, Cantor, Sheila, Miss Yost, and Dr. Lorca are chatting over sandwiches when Lazar appears holding a specimen jar. Admiring the qualities of the flatworm contained in the jar, Lazar admits defeat but changes his mind and demands to see the doctor's human specimens. Dr. Lorca agrees and directs Lazar and the group to where his prized collection sits, only to find that the specimens have broken out. Enraged, Dr. Lorca bites Lazar's ear and tackles him to the ground. Cantor breaks up the fight as the doctor accuses Lazar of taking his babies. Miss Yost notices a strange trail separate from the alcohol that spilled from the jars, which Cantor follows to a vent on the wall. He finds nothing inside the vent, and Dr. Lorca stresses that no one can leave the place until the specimens are found. Somewhere in the castle, the escaped specimens seem to communicate with each other. Lazar accuses the doctor of staging the breakout, but Dr. Lorca dismisses him and orders Sheila to seal the castle. She flips a switch with her foot, and steel shutters barricade all the windows and doors. In disbelief, Cantor returns to the main hall with the others to check the door, only to realize how much trouble they're in. When Miss Yost attempts to intimidate the doctor with her group's superior numbers, Sheila whips out a gun and orders their guests to settle down. One of the specimens lurks behind another wall vent as Dr. Lorca reiterates the retrieval of his collection in exchange for the group's safety. The doctor justifies his actions as born of passion, which in his case is the pursuit of unique biological oddities. He then orders Sheila to lock the group in a storage closet upstairs while he searches for the specimens. In the closet, Cantor tries and fails to break out of their prison through the ceiling. Somewhere nearby, the four-eyed specimen appears to be reading a book while another specimen is pounding on the barricade. Later, Cantor and the others wake up to a pounding sound from the other side of their wall, which, unknown to them, is caused by the specimens. Through simple, knock-based communication, Cantor and Miss Yost manage to ask the specimens for help in opening the storage closet's door. Cantor instructs the specimens to use a crowbar to break the door open. Meanwhile, Dr. Lorca tears through his belongings, agonizing over how the specimens could have escaped. He suspects Lazar once again, and Sheila eggs him on by suggesting they extract information from their prisoners by force. Upstairs, the specimens crack open the storage closet, revealing themselves to the shocked people behind the door, except for an ecstatic Lazar. The collector then offers $1 million for each person who would help him take the specimens out of the castle. While Elvina and Miss Yost agree, Cantor is disturbed by the fact that the oddities are alive. Dr. Lorca and Sheila arrive upstairs and are equally shocked to find the specimens alive. Lazar claims the creatures for himself, offering a number of luxuries, but the doctor reminds them of his careful treatment. As the two men argue over who gets to take the specimens, Miss Yost uses a blanket to capture the creatures, but they break free and injure her in the process. Sheila attempts to grab them next, but one of the creatures gets on her head as Lazar and Dr. Lorca yell at her not to harm it. Then, another specimen gets a hold of Sheila's gun and fires at the group, forcing everyone to flee to another room. The humans barricade themselves in Sheila's room, which the specimens try to open with a crowbar to no avail. That night, as the others sleep, Lazar helps Miss Yost treat her wounds in the bathroom. He schemes with the dealer to help steal the specimens by subduing Dr. Lorca and Sheila, promising a hefty sum of money. Meanwhile, Dr. Lorca theorizes with Cantor that the four-eyed specimen is responsible for reviving the others. So, the doctor aims to persuade that particular creature to back down from harming them, as opposed to Cantor's suggestion to eliminate it. In the castle's crevices, the specimens appear to be preparing an assortment of traps. Later, the specimens communicate with the humans once more with a note slid under the door. According to the note translated by Dr. Lorca, the specimens wish to be freed, or they will kill everyone barricaded in the room. Concurrently, one of the creatures manages to sneak up on a sleeping Elvina and starts breastfeeding on her. She wakes up in horror at the specimen on her chest and hurls the thing under the bed. Screaming in panic, Elvina runs from the room as Cantor follows her. Distracted, she trips over a low wire set up by the creatures and falls over a balcony to her death. Dr. Lorca and Lazar then track down 3 of the specimens, and each man tries to gain favor by offering various bribes. They find the intelligent four-eyed creature hiding in another room, trying to make it choose between them. When the creature slinks back into darkness, Dr. Lorca and Lazar get into a scuffle and soon engage in a sword fight. Miss Yost arrives and proceeds to look for the creature down a narrow stairwell, but she gets impaled by a swinging plank of spikes, killing her. Upstairs, Dr. Lorca draws first blood, but Lazar fights back ferociously, eventually disarming the doctor. Busy fighting, the two end up beneath the trap door as one of the creatures triggers its mechanism. Lazar and Dr. Lorca fall through the door, but the doctor manages to hang on thanks to Sheila and Cantor's help. However, one of the creatures underneath the door stabs the doctor, causing him to fall into the acid bath. Sheila then lures the specimens toward the open trap door, using the key card that unseals the castle as bait. As soon as the specimens come close enough, she sweeps all of them down the acid bath with a blanket. As Sheila and Cantor leave the castle, she offers a professional partnership with the investigator, and they drive off. Unknown to the two, the specimens somehow manage to hide in the car's trunk.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.